Ever so often in the NBA, it feels like we get a player who has a chance to become one of the greatest players of all time. And for this generation, I feel like that player is Luka Doncic. So in this video, I'm going to be seeing could Luka Doncic become the greatest basketball player of all time? Is it possible? What would he have to do? And, what could be holding him back? So with that being said, let's get right into it. So far in his career, Luka has been exceptional. In his rookie season, he averaged 21 points, 8 rebounds, and 6 assists, winning the Rookie of the Year award. And then last year in his second season, he almost averaged a 30-point triple-double, 29 points, 9 rebounds, and 9 assists. He was also an all-star, and he hit a playoff buzzer beater. So has that signature moment that many of the greatest players of all time have young into their career. And in this season, a smaller sample size, of course, he's averaging 27 points, 9 rebounds, and 9 assists. The Mavs have struggled a bit, and he struggled a bit, especially with the shooting percentages from 3, but I'm pretty confident that will turn around and that, the Mavs and him will get back on track, and he's still playing decently. So if we talk about his skill set on offense, he's a good shooter, I'd say, even though the percentages aren't great. It's sort of the thing like with James Harden, they're just taking a lot of tough shots, and when you take tough shots, your shooting percentage is going to be lower. He's not a Steph Curry level shooter, but he's definitely a very good shooter, and shooting is one of his strengths. He can also score inside though, and I would say getting and finishing inside is one of his strengths. He doesn't have great athleticism, but he has a great feel for the game, good dribble moves, and he's also very strong, and it just feels like he just gets the rim. You don't know how he sort of muscles and squirms his way there. And he isn't super fast, but you can't speed the great ones up. So it feels like that's a perfect expression for him. He's not barreling to the rim. He's not super fast, but has lots of counters, lots of good moves. And then once he gets there, he's a very smart finisher, good at using his body to protect the ball and getting it up on the rim. So that is also something Luka can do very well. And then he has a good handle, and he feels like he's always in control of the ball, and he can go at his own speed. And then finally, I'd say what sets him apart is the playmaking. He's a great playmaker, has great basketball IQ, and he's a great passer. Can find the corners easily, can throw nice pocket passes to roll men, and can just make all sorts of passes. And he's already one of the best playmakers in the NBA. So that's probably maybe his biggest strength. So, when we look at Luka, not many players can combine both scoring and playmaking like he can. That is maybe what gives people all this hope, and what has made him already a top 10 player in the NBA. So he's pretty complete on offense. I would say the one thing is just the shooting percentages, and a bit he doesn't really move off ball, and he's a very ball dominant player. So getting him to move up off ball, getting him some easier looks could definitely improve his overall productivity and his 3-point percentage especially. So that could really be something that could help him out, and maybe the only area he needs to improve on offense. And then if we get to defense, he's not a great defender, but he's not terrible. He's sort of an average defender. He is 6'7" and 230 pounds, so a lot of the work is done for him just from his, frame and size. It's tough to get by him. He has good IQ, good feel for the game, and, he's also a good rebounder, gets about 9 boards a game, so that also helps out defensively. So defensively solid, and then offensively very, very good, and, that bodes well for him. A lot of very, very good players, some of the best players of all time, have sort of that mix. If you think about guys like Magic Johnson, not a great defender, Larry Bird, I'd say Bird's a bit better than Luka, especially with the steals and stuff, but not an incredible defender. And there's plenty of other examples. And this also made because like, a lot of the great players have to carry such a high offensive workload, both scoring and playmaking. You think of the top players of all time, top perimeter players of all time, LeBron, Magic, Bird, even Jordan, they all had to carry a big scoring and playmaking load, and Luka has shown that he can do that so far throughout his career. So that is very, very promising, and gets a lot of people excited. So that now that we've talked about Luka, let's talk about where could he finish all time when his career ends, and can he become the greatest basketball player of all time? So if we just go through top 100, I think that's for sure. Top 52, I would almost say I'm pretty confident that Luka Doncic will be a top 20 player of all time. Like, when you're in that range, you're talking about very, very good players, but players that, frankly, I just think Luka is more talented than them. And, he's just better, even in his second and third season, with potential to improve. So, then we get to like the top 50, and it becomes a bit more interesting. In that range, you have guys like Curry, Durant, Oscar Robertson, players of that caliber. And, Curry and Durant, it's tough because their careers are still going. But if you look at a guy like Oscar Robertson, could Luka pass him all time? And players around Robertson sure in that 10 to 15 to 20 range. And then we have to start looking at his credentials. And, a big thing is counting stats and longevity. And I think Luka can definitely have that. The stats are already great, almost a 30-point triple-double. You think he can maintain something similar or a bit worse, and then if he plays for a long time, those are going to start to add up, and he's going to have great numbers. I think he definitely can play for a long time. He did start playing early, but he has all the advantages of modern technology and, shoes and diets and all that sort of thing that, some other players he's going to be going up against all the time don't really. So I think that's a big thing. Also, I feel like his play style is also pretty good. Spends a lot of time on the perimeter, doesn't exert an exuberant amount of time on defense. It feels like he could play for a long time and avoid injury, hopefully. That's a big thing. Like, if he gets hit by a bus tomorrow, he's not going to be the greatest player of all time. But barring anything crazy like that, or really just any injuries, he could have a few minor injuries, but any big injuries, I think he definitely has a good shot, especially counting stats. And when we get to MVPs, I think I'm pretty confident in saying Luka is going to win an MVP in his career, whether it be this season or next season. The question is, can he get to 2? Can he get to 3, 4? How about that? Because those are like the really top players, like LeBron and Jordan and Kareem, Bird. They all have multiple MVPs, and can Luka do it? First place to look is his competition. Obviously, right now he's going up against guys like LeBron and Durant, and if you talk about this season, Jokic and Embiid. And then further along in his career, will Giannis still be competing for MVPs? And then younger guys or guys who are of similar age to him. Jokic is still going to be around for a while. Tatum, Zion. These are all very good players, but can Luka string together 4 MVPs? Because if so, that boosts him up quite a bit. And then finally, maybe the most important thing is the championships. How many of those can he get? And a lot of that is just the team around him. Will he stay in Dallas his whole career, or will he move in free agency? I'm not too sure. One thing is, Dallas do seem motivated to put a very good team around him already. They traded picks for Porzingis, and they're not going to be afraid to make moves to make sure that Luka stays and to give him the best chance to win a championship. I would say it's hard to have like a dynasty though these days. Like, the Warriors obviously won 3, but if we go back, you could have sort of like a Spurs dynasty where you have like, a championship in different eras, never going back to back or anything, but they obviously won in 2014, and then they won in 2007 and 2005 and 2003 and 1999. So pretty far apart between the championships, but Luka and the Mavs could do that if they win one, let's say next season. They get a guy in free agency or something, and it's Luka, Porzingis. Porzingis' health is a big thing, but they could definitely do it, and then maybe they win one more down the line, and it's a different supporting cast. Maybe similar to what Kobe did. Obviously, Luka doesn't have Shaq, but wins few early on in his career, wins too later on in his career. I think it's possible that Luka Doncic does something like that. And also, Luka seems like the type of player that players want to play with. Seems like a nice guy. But also his playmaking, you're going to get a lot of open looks if you're on Luka's team. So that could be a big thing. So I think he could definitely pass those guys. And I think he could definitely be in the top 10 players of all time. And then the competition gets really stiff. But just with his playmaking and scoring and size, very few players have that combination. And all of them seem to be very, very high up all time. So could he really get into the real GOAT conversation, like with really LeBron and Jordan? And, there I'm saying probably not. Luka is a really great player, but one, he just has to have a lot of things go right for him to be in that conversation. So that already makes it a bit unlikely. And then here are the real two things that I think could hold him back. And the first is the defense. Now, I said Luka's pretty average defender. Maybe at his peak, he's a above average defender, but he's never going to be a great defender. And you look at LeBron and Jordan. Jordan, one of the best perimeter defenders, has a defensive player of the year. And LeBron is also a great defender with his ability to guard multiple positions. Probably should have won a defensive player of the year. So, I don't see Luka ever winning a defensive player of the year. And then it's the athleticism. Now, players with similar athleticism have ranked very highly, like Larry Bird is. Well, Larry Bird might actually be the only example. So, that could maybe hold Luka back a little bit. And just with the top guys, like Jordan and LeBron are both freak athletes. Bill Russell was a great athlete compared to his peers. Kareem is like 7'2" or something. He's very tall. They all have great physical advantages. And while Luka isn't a terrible athlete, you wouldn't describe him as athletic. And I think that could also really hold him back. So to conclude, I think Luka definitely has a chance to be one of the top 10 players of all time with his combination of playmaking and shooting and, just the basketball IQ and all that. But I don't think he will really reach the GOAT status or really be in that conversation. I don't think it's possible that he's too far off that conversation, but I think the defense and athleticism might hold him back a bit. Anyways, thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you guys next time.